Hello poker enthusiasts and welcome to PokerHandWizard's Masterclass series. Today we are diving into 8 hands that revolve around the core of poker strategy, value betting. We will unravel the secrets of extracting maximum chips from your opponents when you are holding the goods. Join us as we explore the art of value betting in poker, where every chip counts and every decision can make a difference in your game. In this high action hand, I am in the hijack with king of clubs, jack of clubs. The under the gun player opens and I spice things up with a 3-bet. He calls. We see a flop of 9 of spades, 6 of clubs and 3 of clubs, a mix of potential. We both decide to check. The turn reveals a 6 of hearts. Under the gun leads out with a bold 2/3 pot bet, and I call, chasing a flush with my king high. The river delivers. An ace of clubs completing my flush. Under the gun checks, I bet 77% of the pot, and then he shocks us all, he goes all in. What's my move here? Let's break it down. Pre-flop, 3-betting with king jack of clubs from the hijack is a solid aggressive play, putting pressure on under the gun. He calls and we head to a 9-6-3 flop. Here I opt to check back, mirroring the solver strategy, which checks in this spot about 33% of the time. The turn brings an interesting twist with a second 6. Under the gun fires 2/3 of the pot. According to solver data, this is a clear call for me, keeping in mind the flush potential. Now the river. It's a beauty, the ace of clubs. With my flush made, I bet 77%. But then, under the gun goes all in. It's a crucial moment. His range, it could include flushes, top pairs, under pairs. But his river check has kept his range, ruling out the strongest hands. I decide to call. It's a profitable play against his likely range, as confirmed by its solver analysis. And guess what? He shows pocket 5s. My flush wins, and it's a significant pot heading my way. Remember, poker is not just about the cards you hold, it's about reading the game and making bold moves. For this hand, I would give the hero a strong 9 out of 10 for their play, while the villain earns a solid 8 out of 10. Both demonstrated commendable skill in their moves. Here's the scene. I'm facing a weaker player and decide to ISO raise big with ace of spades, king of spades, a bold move to 11 big blinds. He calls. The flop is a dream, king of hearts, queen of spades, king of clubs. I bet 33% of the pot, he calls. The turn brings a 5 of hearts. I up the ante to 75%, he still hangs in. The river, a 7 of clubs. I continue the pressure. He calls again. What's his range? Let's think about that. Breaking down this play, pre-flop, I go aggressive with a big ISO raise, a dominant move against a less experienced player. On the flop, my bet is a standard range bet, small but effective. His call suggests a broad range, possibly drawing or holding a weaker pair. On the turn, I keep up the aggression. My 75% bet size is aimed at filtering his range, pushing out weaker draws and targeting stronger holdings. His call here narrows it down to possible ace highs with hearts, combo draws, or a sneaky second pair. The river gets interesting. I'm betting with the intention of targeting trips or second pairs. It's a calculated risk. Analysis shows that about 80% of his range falls into this category. I'm confident enough to bet big, maybe even go for a wall pot. It's a pressure move and it pays off. Remember, in poker, sometimes it's not just the hand you are dealt, but how you play it. Keep learning, keep playing. In this exciting hand, the hero earns a stellar 9 out of 10 for their strategy, while the villain's performance garners a respectively 7 out of 10. In this gripping hand, I'm in the cutoff with king of spades, jack of spades. The small blind throws a curveball with a 3-bet, and I answer the call. We are greeted by a flop of king of clubs, jack of clubs, 10 of clubs. He makes a minimum continuation bet, which I read as a weakness, so I raise for value. The turn reveals a 6 of hearts, he checks, and sensing the upper hand, I place a big value bet. He calls. The river brings a 3 of spades, and I go all in for value. He calls. What's his hand range here? Let's dive into the nuances of this play. On the flop, his minimum bet feels like a sign of vulnerability. I capitalize on this by raising, aiming to extract maximum value from my 2-pair. The turn, a 6 of hearts, is where the plot thickens. I stay aggressive. According to GTO principles, betting 33 to 50% is standard here. But I sense he's not holding a monster, so I push harder with a larger bet, challenging his range. Now the river, a 3 of spades. Against the balanced player, a check might be a GTO move. But I am not up against a textbook player. I decide to go all in, targeting a range of hands like aces, kings, jack 10, king jack, king 10, and maybe even king queen. After crunching the numbers in Equilab, it shows we hold a 52% equity advantage. My all-in move is a blend of optimism and strategic calculation. The result? He calls with a weaker hand, and I take down a significant pot. In poker, understanding your opponent's tendencies is as crucial as knowing the odds. Keep studying, keep playing smart. In this hand, the hero earns a solid 9 out of 10 for their great play, while the villain gets 8 out of 10. In this hand, the drama unfolds as I cold call on the button with jack of spades, 10 of spades, after the cutoff opens. The small blind joins the fray, but then the big blind raises the stakes with a squeeze. The cutoff calls, and I decide to join the escalating battle, making an overcall. The flop comes jack of diamonds, 8 of spades, 2 of spades. Both the big blind and cutoff check to me. I seize the moment, betting half the pot, playing my top pair aggressively. Then the big blind makes a move, going all in. It's a moment of high tension. Do I call or fold? Let's unpack the action. Pre-flop, flatting with jack 10 suited, is a solid play, keeping my range wide against the cutoffs open. However, calling the big blind squeeze after the cutoff also calls is a questionable move. It puts me in a tricky spot. Moving to the flop, which is jack high with 2 spades, the situation gets more complex. GTO suggests a smaller bet size around 33% when in position, but I opt for a half pot bet. At this point, folding isn't in the cards for me. The big blind's range is wide, over pairs, top pairs, ace and king highs, and some flush draws. So I make the bold decision to bet and call the big blinds all in. His range suggests a mix of strength and bluffs. He shows ace queen offsuit. My top pair holds and I scoop a crucial pot. This hand is a lesson in risk-taking and understanding the dynamics of squeeze play. Poker's about courage, reading the game, and sometimes taking those calculated risks. Keep grinding and learning. In this hand, the hero scores a 6 out of 10, while the villain stands a notch higher with a 7 out of 10. In this hand, I'm playing the button with ace of spades, queen of spades. After I open, the small blind calls. The plot thickens. The flop brings ace, 7, 5, a decent top pair for me, but I decide to check back, playing it coy. The turn reveals a jack of spades, spicing things up. I bet nearly the pot, and the small blind calls. The river is a dream, the jack of spades, giving me the nut flush. But then, the small blind donk bets the pot. I sense an opportunity and raise 3x. Unexpectedly, he click back raises. It's a high stakes moment, made for the movies. Let's dissect this intricate hand. Pre-flop, ace-queen is a strong hand to open, and the small blind's call sets the stage. On the flop, I check back, a move that's part of my strategy about 40% of the time in this spot. The turn, a jack of spades, opens up flush possibilities. Here, my near pot size bet is aggressive but calculated, targeting a wide range of hands. The small blind's call is intriguing, narrowing down his possible holdings. River action is where it gets really intense. I complete the nut flush, but the small blind's pot-sized donk bet is a curveball. It's unusual, especially from a typical passive player. My 3x raise is to extract value from any weaker flushes he might have, but his clickback raise? That's a red flag. In a non-nut scenario, this move would be alarming. Given his passive nature, a bluff seems unlikely. So when I have the nuts, His raising is music to my ears. My all-in is both joyful and confident, and his call, well, that's just the icing on the cake. This hand is a textbook example of adapting to unexpected aggression and maximizing value when you have the absolute best hand. In poker, sometimes the nuts give you a golden ticket. Remember, it's about reading your opponents and seizing the moment. In this hand, the hero shines with a 9 out of 10, whereas the villain trails behind with a 1 out of 10. Let's set the stage. I'm in position with ace of clubs, jack of clubs, and I 3-bet against the middle position opener. He calls. The flop comes queen of clubs, 7 of clubs, 7 of diamonds. A fascinating board. My opponent surprises me with a half-pot donk bet. What's his holding? I decide to call, holding a flush draw and overcard. The plot thickens when the turn reveals an ace of spades, boosting my hand, but then he shifts gears and goes all in. It's a crucial moment. Should I call? Needing to be good 42% of the time. Breaking down this play, pre-flop 3-betting with ace-jack of clubs is a solid strategic move. It's a strong, playable hand, and 3-betting is absolutely the right play here. On the flop, his donk bet is unusual. GTO doesn't often recommend donk bets in this situation. Yet, facing this bet, a call is necessary. His range could include top pairs, flush draws, maybe even 7s for trips. The turn brings the ace of spades, and suddenly my hand threatens significantly. His all-in, however, is a curveball. It's a tough decision. I have to consider his possible range, quads, full houses, trips, top pairs, and flush draws. Against this range, I estimate my equity to be around 43%. It's borderline, but a call isn't unreasonable. I decide to call, hoping my analysis is on point. The reveal is surprising. He shows 6-7 offsuit. It's a moment of relief and validation for my read and decision-making process. Remember, poker is a game of calculated risks and reads. Trust your instincts and analysis. In this hand, the hero earns a solid 7 out of 10, while the villain is close behind with a 6 out of 10. In this hand, I'm in the hijack with king of spades, 10 of spades. Action heats up when the cutoff 3 bets after my open. I decide to call, playing it cool with king 10 suited. We are greeted by a high action flop, ace of clubs, queen of diamonds, jack of spades. It's a royal affair, and we both opt to check. The turn reveals a 3 of diamonds, and here I make a bold move, an overbet. The cutoff, undeterred, calls. Come the river, a 3 of spades, I bet 67% of the pot. Suddenly my opponent goes all in. What's their range? Time to make a crucial decision. Let's analyze this intense hand. Pre-flop, facing a 3-bet with king 10 suited, I have two choices, call or 4-bet. Given our depths of 140 big blinds, I lean towards a call, aligning with a game theory that suggests a balanced approach. The flop is a poker player's dream, but it's also tricky. With a potential straight on board, we both check. Here the pot control and information gathering are key. The turn adds a 3 of diamonds. This is where the solver and I agree. It's time to ramp up the aggression. I go for an overbet of 140% of the pot, targeting a range that's now more defined but still wide. On the river, a 3 of spades, I continue with a strong 67% bet. Interestingly, solver data suggests an all-in play here. After my bet, the cutoff pushes all-in. This is a pivotal moment. Their range could include strong holdings, but I sense vulnerability. I call. They reveal ace of hearts, queen of hearts. It's a win for me, showcasing the blend of intuition and strategy that poker demands. In poker, the line between risk and reward is thin. It's a game of courage and calculation. In summary, I would rate the hero's play at 7.5 out of 10, primarily due to their decision not to go all in on the river. The villain, on the other hand, earns an 8.5 out of 10 for their inventive river raise all-in. Today we are diving into a hand that's perfect blend of guts and strategy. Picture this. I'm in the big blind, holding king of clubs, 10 of clubs. The action starts heating up when the under the gun player opens and both the hijack and small blind call. I sense an opportunity and decide to squeeze, ramping up the pressure. The original raiser is the only one brave enough to call my squeeze. The flop comes king of hearts, 9 of clubs, 9 of spades. I lead out with a 33% pot size bet, trying to capitalize on my top pair. The under the gun player calls. The turn is a 6 of clubs, and we both cautiously check. When the river reveals a 5 of diamonds, I bet 33% again, aiming to extract more value. Let's dive into the analysis. Pre-flop, my decision to squeeze with king 10 of clubs represents 6.8% of my range, a calculated risk against under the gun 17% opening and 11% calling range. On the king 9-9 flop, my range mostly bets 33%, but sometimes I will mix it up with a 50% bet. As you can see, his calling range includes quads, full houses, over pairs, top pairs, under pairs, third pairs, and ace highs. The turn, a 6 of clubs, slows us both down, leading to a check. It's a crucial juncture as both our ranges start to take shape. Then comes the river, the 5 of diamonds. Here is where I make a strategic choice. I opt for a smaller 33% bet, targeting under the gun's mid-range holdings like queens, jacks, and tens. I'm looking to extract value from hands that wouldn't call a larger bet, but might feel compelled to call a smaller one. According to solver analysis, this is a profitable line, maximizing value while minimizing risk. Under the gun's call and subsequent reveal of a medium pair validate my read and strategy, making this a rewarding and insightful hand. And that's the art of poker, reading the situation, adapting your strategy, and sometimes just going with your gut. In summary, I would rate the hero a 9 out of 10 for their excellent strategy, and the villain gets a solid 8 out of 10 for strong play. Both players showed great skill, providing key lessons for us. If you found this hand analysis helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more poker strategies. Stay sharp at the tables.